Hello and welcome to the Reading Entertainment Podcast, episode 455 for June 23rd, 2024. My name is Nathan Reitensbruth, and joining me this week we have Andrew Rowe McFain.
It's me. I am here. It's hot.
I hope our sounds are coming through because I did not do a sound check this week. So
It's fine.
I think we're all right. We're professionals. We've done this enough. We've done this 455 times. And yeah, so being professional, I would like to know, where can we find you?
You go to Roa.website. Is the Roa.website. Get there for all your Roa.website needs.
And if you're interested, you could also look at our other things that Connor would want to point out, which is our complete actual play podcast of Pathfinder Rise of the Rune Lords. You can look that up at Clinton Core Classics. That's on the Aroa website. And then our new one, our new actual play podcast, which is Shadowrun 6th edition. And that is Bug City Blues, both of which can be found on Spotify, iTunes, pretty much anywhere good podcasts are found. And then, of course, myself, Nathan Reitensbruth. You can find me at Reeton everywhere. The main thing is Twitch. I'm there Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific time to 9 p.m. Pacific time, playing video games and talking to people when they come in, and then having a cat bother me while I'm trying to fight bosses, because that's how cats roll. Just like, oh man, it looks like you can't pause during this fight. You should pet me. There's a spell in Hades 2 where after a while you are able to like get enough ingredients and make it so that you can pause during that boss fight. So I am now I am able to pause during that boss fight. Very excited.
Well, that's not as fun.
It's not. I do like the mechanic where you go to pause and he's like, "What are you doing? Stop that." And then unpauses the game. I think that's pretty cool. But let's move on and let's ask you, what games have you played this week?
So there's a thing going on right now where Stellaris is free for the
Uh-huh.
weekend.
Uh-huh.
I've been playing that.
I like those games.
Stellaris is really fucking fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it's what is it? They call it 4X. Is that 4X?
No, you're thinking of Endless Space.
Is it?
See, I also got confused because I
Okay.
also thought that it was a 4X game.
Well, I know
No,
I played Stellaris, but I'm just
yeah.
I don't know what the difference is, I guess, between
So,
Stellaris, like a 4X game, and
Stellaris
Stellaris,
is
I guess.
considered a grand strategy game, but it's a paradox game. So it's very much in the line with Crusader Kings and Hearts of Iron 4 and all that good shit.
Yeah.
It's real time instead of being turn based. That's the primary differentiator.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense.
Uh, Granted, the way that I have been playing it, it might as well be turn based.
Lots of
Uh,
pausing.
yeah, constantly. Which, to be fair, like I'm learning the game, so of course, and also I'm kind of a perfectionist whenever it comes to any kind of strategy games. That's why everyone hates playing them with me. So, um, yeah, but it's really really fucking fun.
That's
Uh,
good.
and it like there's so much going on there. Now, that said, I'm probably not gonna buy it because I don't know if you've looked at the store page for Stellaris, but with it being a Paradox game, it has a lot of DLC.
I have that game. But I think I just had the base edition.
Yeah, well, so they have they have this lovely thing where whenever you're picking your your civilization to start out with, they give you, like, recommended DLC that you should enable whenever you're playing as that civilization.
Oh, good.
Um, and, they have so much DLC that the list of it on the right side of the screen, there are 2 columns because they had the 1 column and then it overflowed. It looks like there are 29 so there are 29 things on the Steam store. Uh, Several of those are just it's the soundtrack and,
O-
like, some
o-
kind of ebook,
Okay, okay.
that kinda thing.
We need to. I need to talk about this because I have not been on their page in a long time. So there's a few different bundles. There's the 2024 bundle, which is $42.30, and then there is the.
That's the
Uh,
starter pack.
Give me one moment. And we're back. Sorry about that. Had to take a momentary break, but we were talking about Stellaris DLC, and you were telling me that the starter pack is $42.30,
Yeah. Um,
and that's just the base stuff.
that is the base game, and then I guess they're, like, recommended DLC for if, you wanna get going with the best content that there is available. It looks like you get 1, 2, 3, 4 DLC packs with that. Um, but if you want all the DLC, well, then you gotta buy the Stellaris Ultimate Bundle, which is currently on sale for $140.96.
That's 56% off, my friend. That's a good deal.
Yeah, I mean, you you could normally be paying $300 for a
DLC.
game.
Or or you can subscribe to the Stellaris expansion subscription for $9.99 a month.
Ah, now that is a fantastic deal when you think about it.
No, 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 it's not. It's a terrible deal.
But
Because you could pay, so you pay $9.99 a month, or you pay a one-time purchase of $140 for the ultimate bundle.
yeah, but
But okay,
if you if you pay for the subscription, you get all of the additional content as long as your subscription's active, and I
that's
mean, certainly
true.
they'll release more DLC within the next 14 months, right?
It's possible that they would do that. However, it's Stellaris has been out for a long time. It's been out since 2016,
Yep.
which honestly I thought it was out longer than that. Did they have a previous game that was very similar? I don't know. Because
No,
I remember playing Stellaris with a friend of mine, and he really liked it. So it's a good game, but I don't think it's
I
a $300 or $140 game.
do keep in mind, it may be hard to realize, but 2016 was 8 years ago.
I know, I know, I know. You could buy Stellaris, so you can buy. You can also buy Stellaris, um, the normal game, just the base game, for $12 right now, or you can buy the new player edition for $30. And I'm not sure
Which that
what that includes.
it has 2 fewer DLC bundle or DLC packs. It just includes Utopia and whatever Galactic Paragons is. I know that Utopia is considered to be, like, the best DLC for the game. Uh, I don't even know what all it does because the free to play weekend does not include any DLC whatsoever.
That makes sense. That's fair. But you've been enjoying the free weekend that you've been playing of Stellaris.
Yeah, yeah. It's really fun. Um, Makes me want to check out the rest of it, and depending on how I feel after a few more hours, maybe go back to Endless Space 2 and see if that's more my speed considering it's an actually turn-based game. And I
Instead
remember
of,
having
yeah.
fun playing that a while ago.
Yeah, I don't think I played that at all. I like those types of games. One of the games I played when I was a kid that it's just kind of impossible to get working on modern computers is it's a like a Civ game. Um,
Alpha Centauri.
no, although I did play Alpha Centauri and I did like it, but it's called Star Trek: Birth of the Federation,
Oh.
and that game was fun because you would set your ships up to go fight enemies, and then it would go into like a 3D rendered version of that and watch the ships fight very briefly, but and then you would see who won. I thought that was really cool back in the day because it was like 2000 when I played that, so anything CGI was awesome.
Oh, it's like Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories.
Yes, because I know what that is.
There's a thing where whenever you have two cards fight, if you hold the square button down, you get to watch a little animation of them doing a like each monster does an attack animation, and then one of them dies.
So I'll talk about it when we get to mine. But that reminded or the games I played. But that reminded me of something I saw in one of the games I played. However, did you play any other games?
Uh, Nothing really worth talking about.
Did the kitty play any games? Because I heard her or him meow in the background.
Uh, no, he's been like not feeling great, so
Oh,
he's gonna be playing not eating tonight because he's
oh,
got to get blood work done in the morning.
oh! You're. I thought you were like saying he wasn't going to eat because he's not feeling well, and that's sometimes cats do that. Uh,
Yeah.
but you're forcing him not to eat.
Yep.
You're a cruel person.
Sometimes you have to be.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I
I
hope the
don't like
cat's
it.
okay. The games I played this week, I've been trying to get. So first off, I tried to get Durga to play games with me on Monday, but Durga was like, "Oh, I'm gonna play a game with other friends," and then I found out that Durga did not play games with other friends, and instead just didn't do anything. So I played Hades 2. On Monday and Friday, I played Hades 2. Um, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I typically play a game that I'm gonna play through. I tried to install Mass Effect 3 because I beaten 1 and 2 last year, and I was like, oh, well, I'll do that. And then the install got corrupted on the Legendary Edition, so I had to like uninstall it and delete the folder. And now I'm able to. Then I was able to get it reinstalled, but I didn't get it done in time to start it. So I started playing Eluden Chronicle 100 Heroes, which is a spiritual successor to the Suikoden series. So there's
Yeah.
a lot of characters you can pick up in the game. And uh,
The
I'm sorry, go
is
on.
it what did you call it?
Eluden Chronicle?
I thought it
Eluden?
was. Am I?
Elyuden.
Why am I? My brain thinks that it's supposed to be iodine, but I don't know why. Is that a
Maybe,
different game?
maybe you're right. Maybe I'm reading it from this little text, but so maybe it is Ayuden. I just I let me look at the.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Somehow
It looked like
somehow
an
you
L.
might have held. Yeah.
Yeah. So now it's the way that it's appearing because I go to my Twitch to see, and it's in pretty small lettering, so the I looks like an L. The lowercase I
Gotcha.
looks like an L. So anyway, Ayuden Chronicle, 100 Heroes, and in that game, when I was walking through town, there were two characters playing Beyblade, just like in the background where they're like spinning the tops at each other.
Huh.
Uh, it's fun so far, and there is voice acting. I was like, okay, this game Ayuden Chronicle, it looks pretty. It's probably pretty short. Like it's probably like a 20 or 30 hour game. And then I looked it up after I had already started it, and it was like 50 hours. Damn it. So I'll be playing that for a while, and then hopefully be able to play through Mass Effect 3 at some point in my life. And that's it. Those are the only games: Hades 2 and Ayuden Chronicle. And both of the games are pretty good. And Ayuden is included with Game Pass, which is really cool. And Hades 2, I still cannot recommend that enough. If anybody hasn't picked it up yet, just do it. It's so good. And we're going to move on and we're going to talk about some news stories. The big thing that happened this week was the Nintendo Direct. There were a lot of things announced, but we're only going to talk about a couple of them. The first one was the Metroid Prime 4. Is that what it is? Metroid Prime 4 finally got a trailer, and did it get a release date? Because it was
I think it was just like 2025.
okay. Because it they announced it 7 years ago, and they
God,
then
was it
just
that long ago?
yeah, that's what I was reading. A lot of people were talking about how Metroid Prime 4 was announced so long ago, like 7 years, and they're finally saying, yeah, it is a 2025 window.
I
Uh,
am so like there were several trailers that they showed, Metroid Prime 4 being one of them,
yeah,
where I was like, I'm skeptical that this is running on a current gen Switch.
yeah,
Because like
it
I
looks
get
really
it.
good.
Like yeah, you can do some pretty impressive stuff on the Switch if you really know what you're doing, but I am very skeptical that no matter how much crazy hardware tricks you're doing, that Metroid Prime 4, that gameplay trailer is running on a Switch. I think that's running on whatever's coming later, and that's
It's running on the Yuzu emulator. It's what.
that's
Yeah,
what it is.
that's what they sued for. They wanted the rights to be able to run that. No, it's pretty neat. Like it looks good. There's some actual gameplay involved, and it's going to come out in 2025. I've never played the Metroid Prime games.
Really?
Yeah, it was just I had an Xbox back when I was in high school when Metroid Prime was, a big thing, and just never got into it. I had a friend who had a GameCube and had Metroid Prime and said it was awesome, and I just never played it. And
It's yeah, it is a really good series.
that's what I hear. That's what I hear. I wouldn't know. Maybe I'll play them one day. But then the other thing that a lot of people are talking about from the Nintendo Direct is the new Legend of Zelda game, and that is they said I saw an article that was like you can play as Zelda for the first time ever in a Zelda game. And I was like,
Hmm.
no, because you could play as Zelda in the CDI games. So technically speaking, those were officially licensed Nintendo games that you could play as Zelda. Uh, but it looks good. I like the art style.
It's
Basically, Link is
Link
trapped.
Between Worlds,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, something. Yeah, it's like kind of overhead.
Uh, oh, no, 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 I know what it is. It's, because I thought it was just like a remake or a redo of, Link Between Worlds because of the camera angle, but no, it's, Link's Awakening. That's
Oh
it.
yeah,
It's the more recent Link's Awakening art style.
yeah, and it looks good. You can play as Zelda and like do various, like you can like make duplicates of
You clone
items.
things.
You clone things,
That's
and
that's the whole gimmick.
yeah, and it'll be fun probably. It
I
it should be fun.
I'm sure it'll be fun.
I am.
I, I wish that they hadn't I dislike that the implication is that Zelda couldn't possibly defend herself without having some kind of magic staff, even though she's, like, been able to use magic on her own multiple times throughout the series,
Yeah, and in
and
in
it
uh in Ocarina of Time, she like was chic, right? Like, oh,
yeah,
spoilers. Sorry about that, but
spoilers for a 30-year-old game.
she was like a ninja in that game. So
Yeah,
I think she can handle herself.
yeah, so it's like, I whenever they do shit like this where it's like it barely resembles what the franchise normally is, I'm like, why even make it a Zelda game? You know?
Money.
Uh, but yeah,
Yeah.
I know that. We
I
know that. But
I am just I'm a little worried. Did you ever play I forget what they were called. The games where you could like type in scribble nuts.
yeah,
You could type in like different things to bring into the world to like solve these puzzles.
yep,
And part of the problem with Scribblenauts that I found was you could get like 3 or 4 things you could always pop in and just solve it super fast.
yep,
I am worried that with this duplicate mechanic in this game that will happen as well.
yep. That is exactly what I thought almost immediately. Was that hey, this is cool and all, but just like with Breath of the Wild, just like with uh Tears of the Kingdom, like no matter how flexible you make the tools, you're just gonna find what works and just do that over and over again.
Yeah, did
And
you do you you never played Baldur's Gate 3, but did you ever hear what
yeah, I did.
barrelmancy
What are you
is?
talking about?
Oh wait, yeah, you did. I'm sorry. I forgot. You never beat it. You never beat it.
No.
Um, barrelmancy. Did you ever do that?
Uh, is that where you like block doors and shit with barrels?
No. What you do.
I don't know what that is specifically, but
So the idea, and it comes from their previous games too, is if you know that there's an encounter coming, you take a bunch of exploding barrels and you put them in strategic
ah,
locations, and you start the fight, and then just blow up all the barrels to kill all the enemies.
I did actually do that to win a fight at one point. I did not know that there was a fan made name for that strategy, but yeah, like I even would have like the tank of the group just kind of carry barrels of gunpowder or oil or whatever,
Yep.
just in case.
Yep. You could do that.
Like
Yeah, it was great.
so it, but yeah, like that's the thing with most games like this is that you're gonna find a thing that works and you're just gonna do that and it's gonna get really repetitive really quickly. Now I have confidence that like whoever is directing this, is it I don't know if it is Aonuma or not,
No idea.
but, I'm sure that it will still be a good game. It'll have some cool, unique situations, but I I I can't help but find myself kind of wanting Zelda to stop being a, a simulation, you know? Like, could it just be an action RPG again, please?
Yeah. Yeah. Could be fun.
We don't need an immersive sim for everything anymore. It's okay.
They want money, and I if people are gonna buy I know people are gonna buy this.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, and that's available September 26th, 2024. And there were a lot of other things that were shown off. The only one I could think of to even briefly mention is a game I probably will not play called Tales of the Shire, which is that like it's a life sim where
Oh,
you're a hobbit.
yeah, it was ugly as fuck.
Yeah, I looked at that and I was like, I would love to live in the Shire, but I don't know if I want to play a game about just living in the Shire. And you can't run in the
Yeah,
game.
I saw that. I saw, like I don't it was like like a headline or something of like, "You
Yeah,
can't run in the game, but you can something something." And I'm
skip.
like, "Okay, I don't." Oh, yeah, that's it, yep. And
Yep, you
it's
can
like,
skip.
"Okay, whatever. This is for somebody, I guess."
So those are the only other games, or only that's the only game that other than the Zelda and the Metroids that really stuck
Oh,
out to me.
Donkey Kong Returns HD.
There's a Danganronpa thing coming out too.
It's not a Danganronpa thing. It is it's not Danganronpa. It's just basically Danganronpa, but in a different scenario.
I see. Did you ever complete those playthroughs and put them on YouTube?
Only for the first game.
Didn't you have another one that you were doing?
I was doing the second game, and that never went anywhere.
And then you did Undertale and you got like an hour in and stopped.
No, I finished. I got one ending,
Oh, okay.
but it wasn't like it wasn't even a real ending. It was the game saying, "Hey, you forgot to go back and do this entire piece of content. You need to do that." And then I
Oh, that's
never
fun.
did.
That's fun. Anyway, so the Nintendo Direct happened. Lots of people very excited about the Nintendo Direct, and hopefully some of the games.
Nintendo.
And I
We
know,
love a company that hates us.
yeah, and well, and there's always the hopes in 'cause the Switch has been out for a long time now, and there's always the hope that they're gonna be like, "Hey, we're coming out with a Switch 2," and
Well,
they,
that was what I was getting at with the Metroid Prime 4 thing.
yeah,
Is I think that that took as long as it did in development because in reality they were waiting for the Switch to finally have a dev kit
that
or
makes
whatever.
sense. That makes sense. Yeah, hopefully that comes out next year. I think that's the rumor and speculation is that next year. It actually the speculation is that they're going to announce it next year, not
Yeah.
actually release it. But yeah, we're gonna move on and talk about our next story, which is Adobe is being sued by the United States,
Huh.
which is great, fantastic.
And I knew about this,
So
but it's like it's still surprising to me.
it is super surprising. This is from Engadget. It says the complaint filed by the Department of Justice on Monday accuses the Adobe. This is exactly how it says. Accuses the Adobe of pushing consumers towards annual paid monthly subscription plan without adequately disclosing that canceling the plan within the first year could result in an early termination fee. The complaint also alleges that Adobe's early termination fee disclosures were buried in fine print or required consumers to hover over tiny icons to find them. Which,
Huh.
yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want you to know, everybody, I hate Adobe. I absolutely hate Adobe as a company.
It
Uh,
so it's there's also it's kind of have you did you normally I wouldn't, but I was curious. Did you look at the complaint?
I did not. Did you?
I am looking at it right now. There's a ton of stuff that's redacted.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. But like, it's
Like
a
an
little weird.
entire complaint is redacted. Like multiple entire complaints.
Is it? I wonder why. Like, does it have their personal information or
I don't know if
it's
it's
redacted?
like
So obviously we don't know. But
yeah, like I also guess I don't know because I thought maybe it was like no, it's definitely supposed to. I thought maybe it was like that was a section where they were like never mind, but no, I'm looking at in complaint number 2, it goes like turning the stealth ETF into a powerful retention tool that by trapping consumers in subscriptions they no longer want.
that's funny.
And like, what the fuck? This looks like a fucking CIA doc. Oh my god! Page 13 is just entirely redacted.
That's awesome.
It's just Sahi's supervision of and participation in Adobe's unlawful enrollment practices. 59, 60, 61.
I'm going back to the Engadget article. It says here the FTC said that it took action against Adobe after receiving complaints from consumers around the country who said that they were not aware of Adobe's early termination fee, which does make sense because I didn't know there was an early termination fee for like their
Uh,
cloud products.
is that must be for their yearly plan.
Must be. It noted that Adobe continued the practice despite being aware of consumers' confusion. Any consumers who reached out to Adobe I'm sorry, Adobe's customer service to cancel their subscription encountered other obstacles like dropped calls and chats and being transferred to multiple representatives. Okay,
Hmm.
years ago. So when I left, uh, when I started working at Consumer Cellular, I was like, I got a deal, obviously, for working at Consumer Cellular. It was like $20 a month, and you get like, at the time it wasn't unlimited, but you got like 4,000 voice minutes a month and like 4 gigs of data and unlimited texting, or 10,000 text messages, whatever. So it was, $20 a month, not a bad deal. And so I switched, and then I had like a $150 bill to AT&T that I had to pay, and it was fucking impossible to pay that bill. I couldn't do it. Like, because once you cancel your plan, they cancel you out of your online account, so you can't pay the bill.
Oh,
You can't call into the consumer line because your number is no longer registered with them. And so it took me like, I had to end up calling their sales team and get transferred, and it took me like 2 hours just to give them like $150. I've never worked that hard just to give somebody money. And
I've never understood that.
yeah, I don't get it either. I think what they want to do is they want to send you a bill and then you pay it some other way. But like, no, just let me call in and pay that bill. But that reminded me of that, because Adobe is just like, nah, we're just gonna drop the chat and call, because and I feel for the customer support people, because they probably get dinged if they cancel a subscription.
Oh yeah, almost definitely.
And they so they're probably just dropping it so it doesn't hurt their metrics, which is awful.
Yeah.
When I worked at Consumer Cellular, one thing that they did is they did not punish you if you if somebody called in and canceled.
Well,
And
they
so
shouldn't,
they
you know?
shouldn't. They shouldn't, but most places do. If
Yeah.
somebody, like, you're supposed to try to get them to stay, and if you're not a good enough salesperson to get them to stay, then you get dinged, is their mentality.
Right.
Um, and so one time somebody called in and he was having problems with his phone, and he's like, "Hey, I need you to send me a new phone." And I was like, "Oh, well, I'd be happy to do that, but we do have to troubleshoot it first." And he's like, "No, I'm on that phone. I can't troubleshoot it. So, he's like, "I get dropped calls all the time, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And if you don't send me a new phone today, I'm switching to Cricket." And I was just like, "Oh, wow. Just so you know, you should probably keep your number active, because otherwise you won't be able to transfer your number over." And he got really mad at me. He just started cursing
No,
at me.
you're supposed to not want me to switch. Why don't you care?
Yeah, he just started cursing at me, and I was just like, "Sir, if you keep cursing, I'm gonna have to hang up." Oh, all right, bye. Then hung up on him. But yeah, so I feel for the representatives, because I know that that's what they're going through. Is they don't want to be the one to cancel that, because if they cancel it, then it hurts their metrics and they possibly won't get a bonus, and they could get fired for it. But on the other hand, that's shitty that they're getting hung up on and everything. It should be easy to cancel if you want to. Or, I know this is a weird thing to think, you should just be able to buy the product.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
none of this would be happening if they
It's
just allowed you to pay and own the product.
it's almost like they know that they don't offer any value beyond that initial, like, what they would normally charge. Because
Yeah.
because like, you can pay for 1 year in advance, and that is $600.
Jeez, that's how much CS6 cost when it was
That's
new.
exactly what I was saying, is that it used to be you could pay $650, I think, to get Adobe Creative Suite, and that was
Yep.
it. You paid it, you were done. But Adobe figured out the subscription model made them more money, And it's what I mean is that like if you look at the added features in most Adobe products, they have been marginal at best since they switched to this cloud thing. I think for the first 3 or 4 years, they were actually, like, adding some pretty cool stuff, but, like, I know Premiere's feature set, like, every update was just like, "Yeah, we made it so that it sucks a little less."
It doesn't crash as
Like,
often.
you can import, like, this new image format now and, like, some other stuff, and, it integrates better with other Adobe products and, n AI shit that you don't care about, like, it was the same with Photoshop, same with like, it just like, they have nothing to justify the subscription fee, and they have nothing to justify, like, why you would want to buy an additional license after you paid initially, so they're just like, "Well, fuck it, we're just gonna make everybody pay the subscription fee whether they want to or not." Uh, and that's even, like, because I guess there were people who were, like, using older versions of the Creative Cloud that, like, didn't check in or something like that, and they were like, "That's a violation of terms of service," and it's like, "Bitch, I paid for the software. Why
When I
why is it so wrong?"
so when I worked at Sony, we couldn't use CS6. So we had CS6, um, but the problem is they stopped updating it, and there are security things that so we couldn't use it because corporate wouldn't let us, and so
Yeah.
everyone had a Creative Cloud, um, and I would go up to people because they wouldn't update it. People wouldn't like go and check their Creative Cloud and make sure everything was updated. So we would get warnings through I think PDQ would give us warnings, and then a ticket would be made, and I would have to go to everyone and help them get logged into Creative Cloud. And every fucking time, I would go up to the person and I'd be like, "Hey man, we got to get you logged into Creative Cloud." And they're like, "Oh, what's this password?" And I was like, "You set it up." And they're like, "I don't I don't remember that at all." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know. Let's do forgot password." Every time, every single person
That's
uh that happened
that's
with.
actually kind of amazing to me, um, only because, uh, I have Creative Cloud at work,
Yeah,
because I convinced my boss to let me have it,
nice.
um, and we use SSO with it,
Well,
and it
this
it it integrates. I guess that was a while ago, so,
yeah,
like,
that
maybe it wasn't as easy.
that was like 6 years ago.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah,
it can like, I don't know, 'cause, it's the Microsoft SSO thing.
yeah,
So I guess if Sony's not quite as in bed with Office and all that, then it
maybe
wouldn't be so simple.
and it might be upgraded. Like they might have changed since I
And
worked
yeah,
there.
yeah,
So
that was 6 years ago, but,
yeah, but
uh
yeah, it was funny to me how they never remembered their
oh, yeah,
passwords.
no, because like, nobody actually wants to use Creative Cloud.
No,
Like, I I know that, like, the main thing that they use to justify their existence is, like, "Well, look at all the collaboration bullshit." And, like, I just genuinely cannot imagine most shops using the collaboration features to any real degree.
yeah,
I it
the only place that we at my current job, the only thing that we use Creative Cloud for is the Adobe Acrobat Pro, so people can edit PDFs.
Yeah.
Uh,
I it's the reason that I got it was because I work with the marketing team a lot, um, and it just happens to be that, because of my hobbies, I know quite a few parts of the Adobe suite,
mhm.
so, like, I will work with them on that from time to time, and it's like, yeah, they do not use the cloud features for
I
anything.
I don't know because I don't think those cloud features were really that big of a like the collaboration features were that big when I was working at Sony. But I would not be surprised if they used those in that situation, like with Photoshop and like editing, like artwork, stuff like that.
See, I don't know because like most enterprises, you're going to have like either a network drive or God
Um,
forbid a Dropbox or a
Perforce,
OneDrive.
Perforce,
What the fuck is Perforce?
Perforce is a version control, version management thing.
Oh, interesting.
It's like a industry standard in the gaming industry, where you check out items. So you go to your item and you check it out, and then you can
Yeah,
edit
yeah.
it
It's it
you edit it locally, and then you update it, and it will update that item, but it'll also keep the other previous versions of that item.
fascinating. It even like it's not even an alternative to Git. It actually has Git and SVN and Mercurial.
Yep.
Huh.
Yep, that's a industry standard there, which is really cool, and it's really powerful, and it's what everyone
It's
uses.
and and to further my point, they're not using Creative Cloud
No,
for that.
no, they are
Like
not.
I think the only thing that has ever made me be like, maybe I could see paying, for a single Adobe product was the font thing, whatever the hell it's called.
Oh,
Uh,
it's on the tip of my tongue. I know what you're talking about. It's not the colors, right? It's the fonts.
yeah, yeah, where like you can, you just kind of go, hey Adobe, I want a font and I want it to look like this, and then they have like this massive royalty free font library that you can use.
That's awesome.
That was pretty cool. And there's like Adobe stock is a little less cool because you could just pay for like story blocks and get pretty much the same thing. But Adobe stock is pretty cool. You get like, I don't know, like a dozen photos for free or something like that. Like those are the only two things. But my thinking has always been like, okay, well then just sell your software like as its own thing, sell it once, and then have a subscription for the cloud features. And they know that no one would do that. No one will go for that. They'll
Yeah,
buy the software and then they'll never upgrade it. Because like that's another thing is a lot of companies, especially in the creative sphere, that are trying to compete with Adobe, they don't do the subscription thing because they know everyone hates it. So instead they do, you pay whenever they have major version increase. So
yeah,
like you pay for version 2.0, and then 2.1 comes out, you can get that for free. 2.2 comes out, you get that for free. But then version 3.0 comes out and you got to pay an upgrade fee, but it's usually discounted if you already have version 2.0. And I think
I
that's a fantastic way of doing that model.
it is. The only thing I can say is what I don't like about this is the with the cloud stuff. They kind of trap people, and nobody likes the cloud, like Creative Cloud features where you have to pay a monthly fee of 20 or 40 or 60. I don't know how much it costs. You have to pay the monthly fee. Nobody likes doing that.
Nope.
But you kind of get, if you're an artist and you're working in a specific industry, you kind of get trapped in using the Adobe products because you go to school and they train you on how to use Adobe products.
Yep.
And then when you exit school and you go into the industry, then your work has those products provided for you. And so when you're using those all the time, you're not going to like be downloading GIMP and practicing on that because it is so different than the Adobe products.
And they essentially have a Microsoft Office grade chokehold over the industry at this
Yeah.
point, because so much, especially Photoshop, has, like you say, become essentially industry standard.
Yeah. And it sucks, but I mean, hopefully the FTC helps. And I know they're not going to do much. They're probably just going to get like, oh, you get a $2 million fine.
Yeah,
And
it'll be some paltry amount for Adobe considering like they even say in the complaint like was it like $12 billion in
yeah,
revenue from this shit?
they're going to do a $2 million fine. And then Adobe is going to go to their workers and be like, sorry guys, we don't get bonuses this year, which has to go to the government.
Yeah,
Blame
as
them.
of 2023, subscription-based revenue accounted for $14.22 billion of Adobe's overall $19.41 billion in total annual revenue.
I hate giant corporations. And let's move on to a small corporation. Let's move on to a small company that people went to jail, actually went to jail for this, unlike people
Of
who are
course.
in Adobe who should probably go to jail. Um,
Yeah.
there's something called Jetflix. Well, not anymore. And what Jetflix was illegal streaming service that people were subscribing to for $10 a month.
How the
Uh,
fuck did they think they were going to get away with this?
I've seen this so many times. Like we've seen this multiple times where somebody will start like their streaming service, and I've seen it this way where they're basically using Jellyfin or Plex, right? And then like
Yeah.
tweaking it to have their own custom logins and payments and stuff. And then they're taking the media that they've scrubbed from the internet and putting it on a server to host it. And I've seen that happen, but I've also seen one where there was a guy who he bought a bunch of like HBO and Disney. He bought a bunch of those accounts and then somehow was able to like package them in a streaming service so that people could basically use his account while they're on his website.
It's fucking clever.
It's clever but dumb. Uh
Yeah.
so what
There was a the dude that like had a bunch of fucking like TV tuners in like a big fucking what do you call it, cluster. Like he had a server farm with a bunch of servers with TV tuners and people could watch live TV through that.
That's
I
awesome.
remember.
So it says here Jetflix used computer scripts and software to scour the internet for illegal copies of movies and television shows and posted hundreds of thousands of illegal copies as far back as 2007 from torrent and Usenet sites. I bet they use Sonar.
Wow. Oh yeah, definitely. It
Yeah.
was like they used the R's.
Yeah. The defendants created a catalog of bootleg shows and movies bigger than the combined collections of streaming services, including Netflix, Hulu, Vudu, and well, yeah, because Netflix keeps getting rid of shows. Netflix 10 years ago was way better than Netflix is now.
Yeah,
They
well,
had so
that's
much more
because
stuff.
everyone else and their mothers started their own streaming service.
Yeah. It says users could pay a subscription fee to access the site on pretty much any media streaming device with a web browser. Jetflix claimed to offer more than 183,000 television episodes, and have more than 37,000 subscribers at $10 a month. So they were bringing
Wow.
in $370,000 a month. According to the initial indictment filed by the Eastern District of Virginia in 2019, so this has been going on for a while. They made millions of dollars streaming and distributing this catalog of stolen content. So don't do that. Don't
Yeah.
don't
I
steal
like
content and stream it to 37,000 people.
they should have they as soon as they got a cease and desist from the MPAA. So it
Yeah.
says down here they got a cease and desist back in 2012.
Oh.
They they should have stopped. 'Cause yeah,
Yeah.
it was very awkward the way they worded it a few paragraphs up, but this service appears to have been around since 2007.
Yeah.
That was what that sentence meant. Like the fact that it lasted even a year is amazing to me. Like especially since it seems like they weren't really doing anything to like be discreet about it. The FBI started investigating them in
Oh, that's funny.
2016,
I just read
and
that.
all they did, yeah, all they did was just buy a 6-month subscription, and then they gathered evidence of the fact that they were streaming pirated shows, and then checked what the charges were going to, and it was just the defendant's bank accounts. Like it, that was it. They weren't doing anything.
They weren't doing nothing to obfuscate. You know what I mean?
Sure.
They
Yeah.
weren't doing anything to conceal. There we go. The fact that they were just dudes in the USA trying to make money off this. They did make $750,000 in 1 year, according to the indictment. So
It's
good,
pretty fun.
good for them. Good for them. But yeah, it says here the Motion Picture Association of America took notice of Netflix actions in 2012. They sent the cease and desist letters. 4 years later is when the FBI started the undercover operation. So they took a while to get on this. They're like, we'll let him go for a while. That's
Well, because
fine.
probably because it's like, what the fuck ever MPAA? Like no one cares.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, to be honest though, it looks like the sentencing hearing has yet to be scheduled. The Department of Justice says Dahlman could face up to 48 years in prison, and the four remaining defendants could each face 5 years in prison. I mean,
Well,
Dahlman's
if
probably
it,
gonna get 30 years with good behavior, so he'll be out. He'll be out soon.
soon.
30 years. Just he'll just be like 70 by the time he gets out. Yeah. So
But the other
don't.
dudes, depending on how much money they got out of this, might be worth it.
Yeah, as long as they didn't have to give the money back. But we already know they're terrible criminals.
Yeah.
They didn't put those in offshore bank accounts or anything.
No, they're probably it's either spent all the money or they just have it sitting in their US bank account.
Probably. Like that's just dumb. We're gonna move on, and we're gonna move to our last story from 404media.co. Hacker accesses internal tile tool that provides location data for cops. This is a paid article.
Oh, it sure is. That's interesting. I didn't have that on my phone when I posted this.
Did it do
Uh,
it? Did it do it? No. Okay. So
well,
last
that's
last
okay.
week I was able to get the um I was able to get the article to load by pressing // and it didn't work on this one.
So, but I read this on my phone. I guess Apple News accidentally works around it or something. But basically the gist of this is that a hacker got into the company Tile, which their products they're pretty much famous for making the AirTag before the AirTag existed.
Mm-hmm.
They have these little Bluetooth tiles that you clip onto your shit, and then you can track where they are with your phone. Uh, they found out that Tile has a tool that will report back to law enforcement where where your tiles are. So if they get a subpoena from the government or whatever, that where they want your location info, Tile has ways of providing that, which is kind of fucked up.
Yeah. So it's reporting back to the police showing where your location is. So
Yeah,
don't buy these.
yeah. So because like I know a lot of people will bitch about AirTags and how they let you track people pretty effectively without them knowing. And yeah, they do. Um, it's not as big of a deal now because uh, most Android phones will tell you if they've detected some kind of tracking puck that's following you around that your phone's not paired with. But it it at the very least, the Find My network is pretty anonymous. Uh, like each thing has a unique identifier, but it's very difficult to trace that back to whose AirTag it is, uh, just because of the way that Apple's architected it. Um, which essentially it means that Apple can't really do this. Like that's the gist that I'm trying to get at here. Whereas Tile seems to have explicitly made their network so that it wouldn't be too difficult for them to just hand over everywhere that you've ever been to whoever is asking. Which also means that, something like this where a hacker can break in and get this info. Oh yeah, I should also mention Tile's owned by Life 360.
What's that?
And so uh Life 360, they've been around I think longer than Tile. And I remember Life 360 being a thing back in like 2011.
Mm.
Um and its whole thing was that you can install their app on your family's phones and it will let you keep track of like say where your kids are.
Okay, that sounds good.
So yeah, so like if you have like a teenage kid who can drive on their own or whatever, and they're they say they're going off to a friend's house, but then you watch them and it looks like they're going out to like just a random location in the woods, probably doing crack.
Probably.
Then you can go get them. Uh,
Yeah.
of course
Why
that
not? Why did you not share that crack with me?
the implication here being that that data is probably all tied up together, which means that somebody could easily just break in and, see where your kids are.
Yeah,
And
and that wouldn't be
and
good.
like all of this data also includes things like your home address, email address, phone number, you know. That's
Oh,
cool,
good.
right?
Yeah, it's like when you swipe a card using the old magnetic strip, and it just has all the information right there.
Yeah.
It's great, perfect, exactly
Yeah,
what
it's
you want. I mean, why make the hackers have to work for it? Just give
yeah,
them all the information up front.
if you make it convenient, then it loses value, right?
That's how it goes, right? I saw one that it's like an AirTag, but it's just a credit card, like it's the size of a credit card, so you can slip it
Yeah.
in your wallet. And I was like, that's so cool, but it only works on Apple devices. So it's basically just an AirTag, and I was like, man, I wanted to buy that because like if I lost my wallet or something, that would be really handy. Um, but unfortunately, no, can't do that. Um, and I know Android's coming out with their own AirTags.
Oh, is Google making like an official one?
Yeah, Google's making an official AirTag, and I wonder if it's gonna have some of these same problems.
Uh, I'm sure that it'll have some awful shit because it's Google, and they're inevitably going to want to be able to use it to farm your data. So
Oh yeah, they definitely want to do that.
I posted some alternative articles so that you can at least put those in the
I'm already on it.
okay.
He
So
he posted in other articles that aren't locked for
yeah.
by subscription, and so that's the one that's gonna be down in the description below. All of our stories, just so you know, if you listen to this, all of our stories are always down below, so you can take a look and see what we're talking about. And I think that we legally have to do that.
No.
Oh, okay. No, I'm sorry. It's not that we would just fail a class in college if we didn't do that.
Right.
Right. And they're all in APA style. They're not. Man, I hated that. I always hated that in college, having to like go and be like, all right, now I gotta like, okay, what date was this published? All right, put that in here. All right, what page was it found? This bullshit. All
Your school
bullshit.
taught APA though, or did you just pull that out of your ass?
It was APA. I think for the
Huh.
most part.
We always did MLA.
I think we did both, but I think APA was what we usually went with. Or I think
Must be
some
a
classes I had the option to do one or the other. It didn't really matter,
must be a regional thing.
probably. Anyway, those are our news stories for the day. We're gonna be back next week talking about some more video game and tech news. You have any closing words, Aroa?
Uh, don't don't pay for anything.
Don't pay for
Steal
anything
everything.
except for Jetflix. Subscribe to Jetflix. Goodbye.
uh, Goodbye.